What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Gnome, and today I wanted to look at a really fun anti-meta deck in Iron Thorns EX, since what it does is that as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents, have no abilities unless they're a future Pokemon, which is super strong because of the fact that right now future decks are not really played much at all. And so what you're doing is that you're shutting off all Pokemon with rule boxes. So that means any EX Pokemon, any V Pokemon, any Radiant Pokemon, all that kind of stuff really has no ability. And that's huge right now going into our current meta where Charizard is back on top, looking really strong. A lot of decks are trying to utilize Ogerpon in order to function, and so many other decks are really relying on their abilities in order to even work in the first place. And so with Iron Thorns, that can really never happen. And so one of the things that we're going to do, and what made this deck so much stronger, is the fact that we have the new card, Colress's Tenacity, where we get to search our deck for a Stadium card and an Energy card, reveal them, put them in our hand, shuffle our deck. And on base, that seems a little underwhelming, but the reason why it's so strong is that it allows us to find our Lost City, and it also allows us to find our double colorless energies because of the fact that it doesn't specify that the energies have to be basic. And so because of that, one of the goals that we're looking to do is we're looking to get a Lost City down early, knock out our opponent's early basic Pokemon, so in the Charizard matchup, being able to knock out their Charmanders early while we have the Lost City in play, and pretty much make it so they can never play the game or recuperate those pieces. One of the other things is that we're able to play Legacy Energy just to make it even more annoying because of the fact that it means that they're going to have to knock out all of our Iron Thorns that we can possibly play in order to kind of defeat us. And then also, in a weird way, it also lets us play Crisis Punch because it'll put us down to one prize card pretty often, and Crisis Punch lets us close out games that our opponent may actually end up being close to winning, and it kind of helps us swing it back in our favor. We're going to be at 3 energies anyway, so it's actually kind of a fun card to have in the deck, and it works pretty well. We also want to have a copy of Devolution. Same thing, we want to make sure that we're really limiting our opponent as much as possible, making the game as frustrating for them as we can. We run Eries to make sure we're getting rid of rare candies and very important items for our opponent. And then lastly, we're running Crushing Hammer, since we want to make sure, again, in something like the Charizard matchup, one of the things that they are able to do, if we can't stop them in time, is they can, like, rare candy into Charizard and manually attach energies over 2 turns. And so if we can just Crushing Hammer that away, then that's also really never an issue. So we're really just looking to be super frustrating against a lot of the common, like, bigger, more important meta decks, and Iron Thorns manages to do that really well. We also have Penny in order to pick ourselves up, replace our double colorless, move them around, or our Legacy Energy, whatever we want to do, and just stop ourselves from giving up prizes. And then last but not least, for items, we run the Hand Fan, just because that way, if we get attacked, we're able to move an energy off the attacking Pokemon onto one of the bench Pokemon. Just make sure that we're being as annoying as possible with all the energy that we're allowing our opponent to have on the board. If it's something that we can't get away with Crushing Hammers, we can move it away with the Fan. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna be the list. It's very simple. It only runs 4 Pokemon, but honestly, that's all you need. Or 1 Pokemon with 4 copies of it is really all you need. The goal is that you never really want to end up with anything other than Iron Thorns, because if it's not in the active, its ability doesn't work, so you don't want to give them anything they can boss or move around to kind of be disruptive. But yeah, that's the list, guys. Be sure to let me know what you think of the list and any changes or alterations that you would make to it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I do want to give a special shout out to the channel members. I really appreciate the extra level of support. Thank you guys so much for doing that. No obligation or anything like that, as always, but it does mean a lot, so I want to make sure that I give that shout out and say thank you very much for that. And then also be sure to join the community Discord. The tournaments will be back on this coming Saturday. They've kind of fallen to the wayside a little bit. I've been traveling a lot. I was all over the place and out of the city for a while, but I'm back now. Saturday's free. We're going to get back into the tournaments, so if that's something you're interested in, be on the lookout for that. The sign up will probably be open sometime in the next couple days, so be sure to join the community Discord and be on the lookout for that. I will also announce it in the next video as well. And yeah, as for that, be sure to let me know what you want to see in the next video. I'm starting to make a suggestions list and get those all worked on, so be sure to let me know what you want to see in the next videos and things like that. And yeah, we'll get into game number 1 in a moment, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game 1. We're going to be going first, and we'll see what we get and see what our opponent's playing in a moment. With only playing 4 Pokemon, we mulligan a lot, but honestly, that's totally fine. What ends up happening is, like, you're typically gonna mulligan like 2 or 3 times. We only mulligan once, which is actually pretty big for us. But one of the things that we're gonna be able to do, and what's kind of nice, is we'll be able to attach the hand fan, which is pretty cool. Not something that we like absolutely need to do right away, but we'll get to see what our opponent's playing. They will get 1 more card off the mulligan. It is Gardevoir. I don't know why I struggled so hard to remember what that thing's called. Getting Gardevoir is actually really nice for us. So one of the things that's going to end up happening, we don't really need to attach the hand fan, so we can actually just hold on to that for right now. But one of the things that's nice about the Gardevoir matchup is that they can only operate and only play the game if Gardevoir EX is out, and if it's out, obviously Iron Thorns is turning it off, so it really doesn't make a difference what they do, and is going to force them to struggle a lot. So we see an energy onto the Ralts. They'll probably attack. We'll see Arven. I'm curious to see if they attack. They should actually go memory skip here because it would be like pretty annoying. But it looks like they're going to go evolution. Oh, also, while this is happening, this is going to be the first video that I have music playing in the background rather than the regular like Pokemon in-game music. So be sure to let me know what you think of that, how it sounds, if it's too loud, if it's too quiet, if you want different music, because I'm just going to be playing like other random game music that I like, but I have, you know, I don't know if it's going to be a bunch of random songs or like how I'm going to kind of like theme it. So be sure to let me know what you think about that and any way that you'd want that to go. If there's something that you would change or anything like that, be sure to let me know. So I'll talk about that more in a second. One of the things that we want to do now that it's our turn, we can go for Colress and kind of do the play that we talked about before. We can drop the Lost City. It finds us our double turbo. So now we can go ahead and attack with this, knocking out the Ralts. I am going to attach the double turbo, or not the double turbo, the hand fan for right now. And we'll knock out the Ralts. That'll go into the Lost Zone, just being frustrating for our opponent. We'll take 1 prize. And then what we can do on our next turn is that we'll play down the other Iron Thorns, because our biggest worry here is that they may randomly play a copy of like Canceling Cologne, and if that's the case, we don't want to just get like donked just because they go Gardevoir, Canceling Cologne, get a whole bunch of energies in the discard pile, and then we lose. So we want to make sure that we're able to avoid that the best we can. So now that we have one actually set up with like the double turbo, the electric energy, stuff like that, we can bring Iron Thorns in and just move like 1 electric over. We can place the new one down and go from there. We also have Boss in hand, which we can use to just get rid of the Curlias if they try to retreat them out. So we're in a really good spot. There's the Gardevoir EX. It will have no ability active for right now. There's a Dark Energy. There's not enough energy in the discard pile, at least not yet, for them to really do too much. There's an Iono, so a little bit unfortunate. We would have liked to keep that, but we'll find something new to work with. We do get a Devolution, as well as an Eri and a Penny. There's a Pheasantipity. Night Stretcher. 1 energy. Interesting. So there's a double turbo. We can drop the Eri just to see what they're playing. We get rid of a counter catcher, and their hand is just Arven and Energies for right now. We can hold off, and I guess for now we'll just attack into the Gardevoir. It's not going to get us too much because obviously they can Monkey Dory, remove some of the damage, and things like that, but it's kind of the only play we can make at the moment. But yeah, kind of to close out the point on the music, just kind of let me know how it sounds. And also, I cut all the, like, game audio, but I also cut the sound effects of, like, the cards and stuff like that. So let me know if you would prefer that to stay and just cut the game music, but leave the actual, like, sound effects of, like, the attacks and the cards and stuff like that, like, still happening. And that way I can make that edit for the next one. As well as make suggestions on what music you'd want to hear. Because I'm probably just going to do like other random games. Like probably right now, you're going to be hearing a lot of the Donkey Kong Country Returns music. Because it's so good. Like if you've never listened to the soundtrack and you're just like randomly hearing it in this video, go and look it up. It's only absolute bangers. So they go Evolution. They're just gonna make a second Gardevoir and a Kirlia. So the Crushing Hammer doesn't really matter. Just gonna take 2 attacks to do anyway. But we can Crushing Hammer the Dark Energy off the Monkey Dory, potentially. Fortunately, we fail. Alright. We'll keep stacking damage onto this. We really need to get ourselves into another Iron Thorns, though. That's like actually kind of important. So there's the Refinement. I don't think they're playing Canceling. There's an Arven. This will tell us if they're playing it or not. But most decks aren't, and that's part of what makes Iron Thorns so broken. There's a Super Rod, so still no canceling, so nothing really to worry about. Because obviously they would have picked it up from the Arven. So I don't really have to worry about them like randomly drawing into it. The only thing I will say is with Iron Thorns, if you're going to play this deck, be prepared for long games. So there's a new Gardevoir EX. There's the Brain to move 30 damage over. Yeah, we're short 10 damage. That's so annoying. Alright, perfect. So there's Arven, which means we can go Techno Radar, and we'll grab a future booster capsule. We can go Techno Radar, get rid of the electric energy, grab ourselves 2 more Iron Thorns, place this down, we'll place the double colorless, we can attack, and then we'll move the electric energy over. And then what we can do on our next turn is Penny to pick this up. We can bring this back in, like the Iron Thorns, and just start attacking with that. There's a random dark energy onto the Curlia. We see them draw and pass again. That works for us. We can go Arven. Grab ourselves this and another future booster. We can Earthen Vessel, get rid of 1 future booster capsule, get ourselves double electric energy. We'll place the Legacy down for now because we can always pick that back up with Penny later, and then we'll throw down another Iron Thorns. So that way we can go Volt Cyclone here, knock this out, and then we'll move the double colorless here. Because on the next turn we're going to Penny to pick this up. We get 2 more prizes, another future booster and a research. And this is kind of the other thing too about the Gardevoir matchup that's so good is like 9 out of 10 times the only offensive mons that they run is going to be a Drifloon and a and that's only like 1 copy of Drifloon and then like 1 copy of Screamtail. And because you play multiple Lost Cities, let's say hypothetically that they ran the Canceling Cologne. And they play that down. And that, you know, stops me from having my ability. They activate Gardevoir, and then they knock me out with Drifloon. It's like, sure, that's annoying, but then I come back in with another Iron Thorns, knock out the Drifloon, and then because if I have Lost City down, which I should, then it's just gone from the game, and they can't use that either to attack me. They do the same play with Screamtail, we knock that out. But even if they try to maneuver around, let's say they have like a Flutter Mane, and Flutter Mane's in the active, and it's shutting off my Iron Thorns, allowing them to operate. At the end of the day, it's not really going to end up mattering, because same thing, we just bring something in, we knock out whatever offensive threat they want to use, even if it is their Flutter Mane or whatever, and then from there, there's nothing they can do. Because Lost Cities removed all their Pokemon from like being able to be played. So they do get rid of the Lost City there. And that's fine by us. We also have Lost Vacuum if it like ends up becoming relevant. The only thing that's annoying is the fact that our Iron Thorns is not really going to be able to do much right now because of the fact that we got Iono'd. But it still doesn't really matter. Because like we have time. And if they knock it out, like, who really cares? We can always just bring our other Iron Thorns that can attack back in. There's a Crushing Hammer. We'll play that for fun. we will remove the Dark Energy from the Monkey Dory. And then we'll Iono for a new set of cards. We don't really need the boss or anything like that. We get ourselves a new Lost City and a double colorless energy. So, and a Pokégear. Pokégear gets us a research, and we can grab that to try to find ourselves something cooler on the next turn. For right now, what we'll do is we'll grab this, we'll attack, and we'll leave the Lost City in hand. Since, again, it doesn't really help us to play it right now, because they can always just bump it if they really had to. We have both Iron Thorns powered up on the bench. And this will be KO'd on the next turn. And also Lost City'd out of the game. Again, there's nothing they can really do, so they're probably just going to end up decking themselves out. But, I mean, like, that's fine for us. There's a Thornton. I mean, good play. The question is, what are they going to bother to Thornton into? Okay. Cool. Thanks. Cool. So we get ourselves a Boss's Orders. Technically, they could bring in Gardevoir here, and I can't remember if they attached an energy for turn. If they didn't, then they could attach an energy for turn, attack for 190, knock us out. But, I mean, that doesn't really get them any farther. I'm surprised they haven't conceded at this point. It's like, it's hard to give commentary on a game that's very over. So we can throw this down, we can slap that down, and then we'll hold on to the Boss's Orders because it guarantees us the KO on Monkey Dory later on. This energy can just get thrown onto this one, why not? We'll take one more prize. The Pokégear can get us potentially an Arven. But if we get ourselves into an energy, then we just pull Monkey Dory up and get the KO there. Or if they're kind enough to knock us out. Hey, thank you. So they were kind enough to knock us out. We'll bring in our Iron Thorns with the Legacy Energy. We'll grab the Arven. It doesn't really matter. This is a situation where, like, let's say this was any other, and, like, we didn't have boss. So we'll throw the boss down, though. But let's say we didn't have Boss's Orders there, and this is a completely separate hypothetical. But let's say that we didn't have the Boss's Orders, and we weren't up against Gardevoir. Like, let's say we were against Raging Bolt or something like that, right? And we obviously don't do enough damage to one-shot it. In that situation, like, we could go Arven, search out the... We could search out the... what was that thing called? We could search out the Crisis Punch and use that to get the KO there. But anyway, that's going to be game number one. A very drawn-out game because our opponent had no way of winning, but they didn't concede. They just wanted to kind of play it out. But that's going to happen sometimes, so be prepared for some long games. But that's game number one, and I'll see you guys in game number two. Peace. Alright, we're into game number two. Our opponent's going to be going first. We actually don't mulligan, which is pretty hype. We can play down our Iron Thorns. And what we'll be able to do is go double colorless. We can play the Arven, get ourselves some pieces. This is great for us. Like, this is a pretty good matchup overall because of the fact that a lot of their dark cards won't work. They won't be able to abuse Monkey Dory. as a single prizer. They won't be able to move things around with the... Somebody told me how to pronounce it. I think it's Pekarun? Or it's like... It's supposed to be like a play on petulant, right? I'm trying to remember the comment that somebody left. So we'll drop the double colorless energy. We'll go Arven. We'll grab ourselves a booster energy capsule. And we'll grab... We already have the vessel. We can grab the Lost Vacuum, but it doesn't really matter. We'll go Pokégear, I think. Is our best bet. And then what we can do is go... We'll go Earthen Vessel, remove the Hand Fan, because Hand Fan's not really going to come up in this matchup. We can take the 2 energy out, and then we'll pass our turn. The main reason for this is that, though, yes, we could Pokégear right now, realistically, we're probably not going to get, like, reshuffled or anything like that unless they're playing Iono and just, like, really want to go for it, which I don't think they will. Okay, as I say that. But all that does is that puts some electric energy at the bottom of our deck. But the main thing is, like, let's say we played Pokégear there. Okay, let's say we got our Colress. Now it's at the bottom of their deck, so that doesn't help us. And also, what we could do on the next turn is, like, we dig 1 card deeper into our deck, and that's just going to help us get to the pieces, like, that we absolutely need, over just kind of not getting anywhere at all, if that makes sense. So that's why I held off on playing that. What's nice here is we actually get the Lost City. We'll be able to go Crushing Hammer. We remove the Dark Energy off the Monkey Dory. Doesn't really matter because they have Dark Patch, so it's not like it makes the biggest difference in the world. But we will be able to grab our Legacy Energy as well as another Lost City. We can play that down. We'll hold off on actually using the Lost City for right now, and we will attack. They don't have any way to get this thing fully powered up. Even if they go like Janine's Secret Arts, they would need a Janine's Secret Arts, a manual attach, a Dark Patch, and then an energy switch. And they only have 4 cards in hand with no way to draw, at least as of right now. So I have no real faith that they're going to be able to do that. It looks like they're completely stuck, which means we can actually hold off on playing the Eri, but it does mean that we can play the Lost City. We'll go ahead and play this down for right now. We'll go with the Volt Cyclone, knock this out, move the Legacy Energy over, because we can always look for a Electric Energy later. There we go, there's the Earthen Vessel and even a Penny, so we'd be able to get our pieces regardless of the outcome coming up. But we'll also have the option that if we want to, we can... Okay, so they go Iono. I was going to say we can Eri and look to knock some pieces out of their hand, but this all works out for us. There's all the electric energy we need in order to kind of keep getting attacks off. They'll probably just poison themselves, get the energy they're looking for. There is the Mochi. Yeah, so they're going to poison themselves, get the energy they're looking for. We'll end up losing the active Iron Thorns, but it's really not that big a deal. So we can go place that one down. We'll attach the energy from hand. We can go Volt Cyclone. Then we'll just move the double colorless over. Our whole hand being energy is a little bit, you know, underwhelming, but not the biggest deal in the world. there's an energy onto the Monkidori. So they can attack into us. This would KO us, but then we come back in, KO this, and then that's 2 out of their probably 3 down. There's a Night Stretcher for another energy. We definitely do want to get into like some sort of supporter or something soon though. Obviously, just a handful of energy is not ideal. Like, if we could get into like an Iono of our own, that would be huge. But we can bring in Iron Thorns. There's a Research. So we'll throw the double colorless down and we'll go Research here. We'll go Crushing Hammer just to be annoying, which we miss anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We can go Volt Cyclone, knock out this, we'll move the Legacy Energy over. Just in case we're knocked out, we'll take 2 more prizes, where we get another Iron Thorns and another Lost Vacuum. So they can attach manually and go like Janine's Secret Arts and get a KO here. And I feel like that's probably the play they're going to want to make. Like if I had to guess. But the benefit we'll run into is that they'll go down to 2. Oh, they got rid of their Janines. What are they looking for then? They just go Darkrai. Maybe they have a second copy? Okay, they did. The benefit here, though, is that we'll have a Legacy Energy on board. So we'll go down to... They'll go down to 2 prizes. We'll be able to attack into this. We'll have... Unless they can boss us... But we can go this. We'll grab ourselves the Future Booster Capsule, and we'll grab ourselves a Earthen Vessel. We can go Earthen Vessel, get rid of the Devolution, get to Electric Energy. We can attach the Future Booster Capsule, go with the Energy Attachment, and then from here we'll attack going Volt Cyclone, and we'll move the double colorless onto the one on the bench. And as long as we don't get bossed here, we win. So that's really like what it comes down to. There's Radiant Greninja, that doesn't do anything. There's the Darkrai V-Star. Do they have Prime Catcher? No. They have Ultra Ball, Nest Ball. Neither of those do anything. They have Trekking Shoe to try to dig themselves out a little deeper. Night Stretcher would get them 1 energy, but that doesn't really matter. So Dark IV Start is, I mean, it doesn't do anything anyway, but I'm under the impression that, like, if they could turn off my abilities, what would it do for them? And the answer right now is nothing. There's an energy on Monkey Dory. They could retreat and attack. But we live that. And we draw in a double colorless, which is pretty big. Because we can place this down, right? Then what we do from here is that we go Arven. We can go for the Crisis Punch. And we'll grab ourselves a Pokégear. We can go Pokégear, find ourselves the boss's orders. Then we also have Crisis Punch for later. And we'll move the double colorless onto this one and pass. Because we can always retreat out. Like, we don't have to stay in. We know they have no cards to draw with, they have nothing they can do, so unless they top deck boss, we are totally fine. We have a contingency plan for every scenario. If they retreat out, we go boss. If they knock us out, we go Crisis Punch. There's a Nest Ball for Iron Bundle. I mean, they can force us to switch that way. I mean, good play. But this still doesn't knock us out. Is their last card in hand Mulchi? Maybe, okay, maybe what they were trying to do is have an energy left in the deck, so then what they could do is attach the energy onto the Pecharunt on the bench, retreat, go into that. That would actually not have been a bad play by any means, but unfortunately they just ran out of energies. But all right, cool. That's gonna be game number 2, and we'll jump into game number 3 in a moment, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 3, and we'll be going first. We don't mulligan again, that's huge. We also see a Pokégear for ourselves, which is kind of nice to potentially set up for our future turns. We do have a couple energies to use, as well as a future booster capsule. So we'll see what our opponents are playing. I'd say the number one weakness for this deck, if there was one, is obviously people playing Canceling Cologne. That sucks. And the other weakness, and arguably the biggest, that you have to kind of look out for is the fact that there are a lot of times that people are going to be playing single prizer decks that don't have any like rule box Pokemon, and then your deck just does nothing. It really doesn't matter. You have to get really lucky in a situation like that in order to win, honestly. Like if you randomly run into like Festival Lead or something, you just kind of lose, because there's nothing your deck does that stops them. This is cool Duskull art. I think the other one's better, but this is still cool. Like the new one with Duskull in the street. I feel like that's definitely the best Duskull art, but this one's still pretty cool. If we're able to Pokégear and get ourselves into the Colress, we're in an amazing spot. We'll see what they choose to Arven, because they can't go Rotom. They could Buddy Poffin. Yeah, so they Buddy Poffin and Sealstone. So they'll probably just get themselves like another Charmander and a Pidgey, I would assume. but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Our hand isn't the best, so they have an opportunity, because it's going to take us at least 3 turns at this point, unless we hit something better, to kind of get an attack off, because we're going to have to go like Electric Energy, Legacy Energy. So like they have time for sure. But we'll see if like when they start attaching energies and how. They go Nest Ball for what, another Duskull? Okay, so they go Rotom. They can't use it, but they're gonna use it to attach the Seal Stone too. And I can't remember, I think Seal Stone still works. Even though it uses like your V-Star power. I can't remember. I could be wrong, but I feel like they can still use the Seal Stone. I don't remember how that interaction works. Because it doesn't like count as an ability, it just uses your V-Star power for the turn. So we get 1 card deeper. We'll go Pokégear. We do find the Colress, which is pretty cool. Even though we already have the double colorless, really this is just to get us to the Lost City. And then we'll still draw 1 more. Yeah, we'll get ourselves another double colorless just to pull it out of the deck. We can go Lost City, double colorless, and we don't need to attach the future booster capsule for now, so we'll leave that off just in case they want to like Lost Vacuum it or something. But that does get rid of one of the Charmanders, so that's out of the game. We get ourselves 1 prize. It'd be sick if we got like an Arven here. Alright, Lost Vacuum, that's still fine. The benefit right now is that like we knock out whatever they want to bring in. And they can't accelerate energy yet. There's an argument to be made that we probably should have gone Arven and got another like Iron Thorns on board. But I think we're fine for right now. Especially too, like let's say they go like Rare Candy, evolve into Charizard, and manually attach an energy. If we hit the Crushing Hammer, then like we're completely fine. And it looks like that's what they're gonna want to do. They get rid of the Charmeleon, which makes me assume they have to have Rare Candy in hand, like they're gonna go Rare Candy Charizard here. And especially if we can Crushing Hammer it though, it's gonna be huge because they're gonna have to find 2 more energy off the like 3 cards they have in hand, which will probably end up being like 1. Because it's gonna be Rare Candy. Then they go Zard, they're down to 2. They play an energy, then they're down to 1. And it just kind of comes down to what that last 1 card is. And again, I don't think they play Canceling. If you learned anything from this video, it's that you need to run at least 1 copy of Canceling Cologne in every deck you play. Whoa, Victini. Why? Am I missing something? Isn't this card awful? Alright, so they are using their V-Star power, which it does work. I thought it did. So I was right. Is this gonna get them the Rare Candy? I'm very confused by the Victini. Is this like a thing that people are running now? I feel like this is awful. really bad card. I know that it doesn't have to reveal, but I really wish it did. I mean, obviously I can guess, but I shouldn't have to. So there's zero. Ooh, unfair stamp after. So that can actually get him some pieces. That was a really good unfair stamp. We do get the Techno Radar though. Rare Candy to Pidgeot. This doesn't do anything. If they don't get an energy attachment for turn here, oh, we're still so in it. We'll hold off on using anything because right now we're completely safe from all harm. Even if they like Canceling Cologne or whatever, it really won't matter. So we can attack. On our next turn, we can go Techno Radar if we want to. Start building up a new Iron Thorns. We do have the boss for later. I mean, I guess we could just boss up the Victini and start attacking it. Because in case they want to go like Victory Flare or something. Because like the Charizard doesn't really matter either. We can play this down. And now that we have that, we really don't have to care all that much about the Victini. We'll move the double colorless over. Next turn, we get rid of the Charizard. Okay. So, what are they going to try to shift into? Because they're going to go back to the bench, but like, what are they going to try to put in the active? I guess Rotom? Yep. I mean, fine. We have the Future Booster Capsule. So we can go Volt Cyclone. Knock that out. Attach the energy onto the one in the back. We have Boss to pull that back up if we want. The unfair stamp was definitely annoying, but they're still pretty much stuck. Use Boss's orders to pull that up, but I was going to attack with that anyway. Yeah, I feel like they just know they're stuck. Like, there's nothing they can do. I can go Techno Radar here. Not really because it gets me a lot, but it just helps, like, reshuffle and thin my deck out. Because I need to get into better pieces. So we'll go Volt Cyclone here. We'll move the electric energy over, and now we're hoping that off our prize cards we can get a Future Booster Capsule or an Arven, so that way we just get an easy retreat. We get one energy and a Professor's Research, which is honestly good enough for us right now. They can go Victini. They have no way of accelerating energy. in any direct meaningful way. Again, unless they go like Canceling, Rare Candy, Charizard. And then they could do 2 energies to the Victini, 1 to the Charizard, but at that point, that wouldn't really be a good play. They'd be better off just putting it onto the Zard. Also, they're going to have to find a way to power up the Victini because it's going to be 10 damage short, which is super unfortunate for them. We'll see what they grab off the Arven. They could grab... Oh, they could grab a Defiant Band. And that would allow Victini to knock out the Iron Thorns. So there's the Defiant Band with an Ultra Ball. So we'll see if they have Rare Candy in hand. But the fact that they didn't search the Canceling Cologne means they either have it in hand already. But if they had it already, wouldn't they have played it earlier? The Fire Energy. So I think they're just gonna go like Strafe. Is that the name of the attack? Strafe? Yeah. They're just gonna go Strafe here, do a little bit of extra damage, and then bring... Maybe they do go Charizard here, and then just use that to eat the attack. Nope. So they got rid of their Zard. Wonder what they're grabbing. Like, what would even be worth it? Oh, okay, Dusclops. So they can go... They can place the Dusclops down, do enough damage that on the next turn, this would be enough. So, like, they could Strafe, Dusclops, give up the Charmander, and then bring this in, get the knockout. But even then, that's not, like, worth it. Like, this game is pretty much over for them. There's really nothing they can do. Yeah, so they're gonna give up the Charmander. I really don't want to give up a second boss. I could actually leave the Zard. I could go Boss's Orders here, put enough damage onto this that I knock it out later. And make it so if they do choose to... Yeah. So I'm just going to do that. Because again, we don't really care about Zard. It's not going to do anything for us. And they already started like giving theirs up. So I don't really think it's going to matter. I want to inspect my board real quick. What do I have in hand? Yeah, we'll move the regular energy over. Because I can always just go research right after this. But I want to pull this up and do enough damage that if they decide to Dusclops and use this to actually attack with, then they will just straight up lose the game at any point they decide to do that. If they decide to just go Strafe again and go into Charmander, like, that's fine with us. The Iono's minorly annoying, but we get Colress and the Earthen Vessel, so it all works out for us in the end regardless. So we'll see what they decide to do. They could go Strafe again, and if they did that, they could actually then go Dust Noir and try to get a KO that way, and then bring this in, get another KO here. But that still wouldn't help them. Like, it wouldn't really be enough. How many candies did they use? Just 2, so they should have more. So, same play, they're going to bring up Charmander. And we can just go Colress. We can grab ourselves the Legacy Energy, attach that, and knock out the Charmander, go down to 2 prizes, and be able to KO this whenever we feel like it. We'll grab ourselves another Lost City, and the Legacy Energy, like I said, we can go Legacy Energy, then we'll go Earthen Vessel. We'll discard the Iono because it's only going to negatively impact us in comparison to our opponent. And then what we can do here is go for the Volt Cyclone, knocking out the active. Then what I'll do actually is move the double colorless, or actually I'm gonna move the Legacy Energy off Iron Thorns. And the reason for that decision is that, alright, there's another Iono, don't really care about that. If they bring Victini in and knock us out, the Legacy Energy makes no difference in terms of the prize race for this game. They still have 6 prize cards remaining, so it doesn't really matter, right? Like, this doesn't help us or hurt us if they take 2, 5, or any number, as long as it's not 6 in a single turn. So, and Strafe doesn't KO us here. So what we want to be able to do is, like, if they decide to KO us, we have 2 Pokemon that can come in and knock us out, or knock them out, right? If they KO themselves and they strafe and they go into the Pidgeot, then we can hit that for weakness and KO it. Which we couldn't do if we attach like a double colorless here. Because then we'd be short damage even after weakness. So they can go strafe here. Like I said, bring in the Pidgeot, but then it doesn't matter because now we have a target that will hit for weakness with enough damage that we actually get the KO. So they bring in Pidgeot, and then I have the future booster capsule attached, so I can give an example of like what I'm talking about. So like, let's say I brought this in when instead of moving the Legacy Energy, I moved the double colorless. I would, oh wait, I'm wrong. Oh wait, because I have the future booster capsule, I'm hitting for the extra 20. I'm an idiot. Okay, regularly I'd be short a little bit of damage here, but I have the future booster capsule, so it's actually offsetting the double colorless. So ignore that, but you get the point. You get the point I was trying to make. But if I didn't have that, it would matter. But we do hit for weakness, and thanks to our item, we offset the drop from the double colorless. We get the knockout on the Pidgeot, and we claim our 3rd win. So that's going to be it for this video. 3 games down, kind of showing it off. I really don't like this Victini. I think this is a really dumb card, but I don't know, maybe it's really good and I'm just a hater. But yeah, that's going to be game number 3. Be sure to let me know what you thought of the deck and any changes that you would make to it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to join the community Discord. I would really appreciate it. We're going to start up with community tournaments again, coming this Saturday. So be on the lookout for that. I don't remember if I mentioned it or not, but the list the deck list for this video will be down in the description below, so if that's something you're interested in, be sure to check that out, and be sure to let me know what you want to see next on the channel, whether it's cards, decks, concepts, whatever, and I can start working on those as soon as possible. I have a couple suggestions that I have to get to from, or like requests from the previous videos, but I'll be getting them all out in due time, so be sure to put your suggestions down there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace. Oh, lastly, be sure to let me know what you thought about doing the music and stuff like that in the video, whether you like it, love it, hate it, don't like it, whatever, whether it's too quiet, too loud, don't like the songs, whatever, just so that way I can kind of tweak and edit stuff. And yeah, all right, peace. Thanks.